Done.
Okay, so the next talk that we have is by Kushal Oza. His talk is 10 myths about QAs that we need to break. Kushal has been working with ThoughtWorks for more than 2 years now. He has worked on various technologies and tools. He has played various roles. And recently, we've been calling him Babaji, not because he's enlightening or anything, but because he looks like one. So over to you, Kushal.
Thanks a lot. Can you guys hear me at the back? Okay, awesome. Uh, Hi guys, I'm Kushal, the Babaji or whatever you want to call me. Today I'm going to talk about 10 myths about QA. These points are going to be based on my observations, my experience, my conversations with peers, my friends, people in the industry who spend some time. Okay, so let's get started, right? I'm constantly asked this question, what kind of a tester are you? Are you a manual tester? Are you an automation tester? So what I see, right, there is a lot of divide in the industry to segregate these two roles out, right? As in saying that, okay, manual testers will just do manual testing, automation will just do automation. There is no overlap of sorts in these two things. Manual testers will follow a sheet, they'll say these many test cases passed, these many test cases failed. That a similar sheet is passed on to an automation tester, he's going to automate, say automated or not, something of that sort, right? And this creates a lot of divide out there for QAs as well. Sorry about that. The next point is about 100% automation. More often than not, the clients ask us, okay, what is the automation percentage? What is the automation coverage that you have? How many automated scenarios that you have? Can you bump up that percent? Can that percentage go to 100%? They actually forget why automation is in place. They try to replace automation scenarios or automation tests with manual scenarios. So manual has its own importance, automation scenarios has its own importance. Automation is for critical test cases, for faster feedback, they forget about that. Say for example, Facebook does something, say 100% automation. Their automation suite will run for months to get that feedback, which test is failing, then fix that, again run some test for months. So again, this notion of 100% automation is there out there, and then we need to change it. Now the thing, right, as in let's take for example, there is a changing feature. Always developers are checking in code to change that feature, and somehow in a very good scenario there has been automation written for it. Some automation scenarios had been written for it. Now if the feature has changed, more often than not, the feature is going to break. The automation test is going to break. But now the team or the developer is going to think the QA is going to maintain this without even communicating to QA. They are not going to even look at a red build, a broken test or something, and they're going to just assume that the QA is going to look at it, he's going to look at my change, he's going to change that test, and the test will pass magically. The QA is going to come and then do some stuff around it. But automation test is the team's responsibility to maintain it, to write it, and making it pass again and again. Moving on. Again, this notion that, you know what, developers are superior, testers can take a backseat. You know what, you guys are okay, developers do the cool things, they use the cool technologies, and do some cool stuff, build stuff, and then the tester will try to maybe report a bug, we'll fix that bug again using those cool technologies, and then that's the process, right? As in bug report, testing takes a complete backseat in the industry. We're not being given that much respect out there. I'm not saying every company does that, but somehow that notion, that thought process has come in, right? Moving on, in the software development lifecycle, as I said, the testers have been pushed to the back seat. Let's take, for example, the customer is pushing a team to deliver or release a software by the end of this week. Now, the team, more often than not, will push everything to development. Say, guys, you know what, let's develop everything first. And the QAs can maybe later on, last 2 days or last 1 day, they can test it out, figure out something, report some bugs, do something around that. You tell me, will that software be as, will that software have that quality if the QAs are involved in the stage very early, or will it have bugs? More often than not, it will have bugs because enough testing time has not been spent on that. So if you involve the QAs very early in the cycle, they tell the developers, okay, you know what, these are the breaking scenarios, these are the edge cases that can go, and the developers can think about those things, write their code accordingly, and then do some stuff, right? Even in analysis, when the BAs or the PMs or the clients are sitting together to chalk out these features, okay, this release has to go with live with these features. The QAs can come and say that, you know what, guys, clubbing these features makes sense because, you know what, I can test these together and the other one accordingly. So that involvement has to happen. QAs have to be involved way early in the cycle and for making a good quality software delivered. Next thing, right? Now, I'm always asked this question, and this is a very valid question, right? People directly come up to me and say, whatever you're releasing, is it completely bug-free? Will I not be able to find any bugs at all? You tell me, is it possible? No, right? So there are going to be some bugs in the software, some scenarios that people miss, some edge cases that are not just tested, right? And that's pretty okay. That's usual, and that has to happen, and that will happen. So who is to blame? Let's say I released a software, a prod bug comes in. The team is going to think about, okay, now the tester did not test it properly. This was not caught when he was testing it. Now let's blame the QAs. No. It's the team's responsibility to deliver the best quality software, and it's the team's effort that has to go in to make that happen. It's not just the QAs. People have to understand that and not just blame fingers or point fingers at the QAs if this happens. Moving on. Again, a lot of people say, right, okay, testing is just following a sheet of sorts, right? Test cases are written, you just say mark them as passed or failed and then report bugs, do report testing. And where is the logic coming in? Where are you using your head of sorts, right? Where is the logic? Where is the analytical brain coming in? But I completely disagree to that point, saying that, you know what, as a QA, you need to get into the user's shoes to think about how a user is going to use the app. And then think, let's take an example. A user sitting in US, a user sitting in Africa, a user sitting in India. All these three users are going to interact with the software in a very different way. A QA has to think in those terms, right? Use that logic, use that analytical brain of his and come up with test scenarios to test the app and then catch bugs accordingly. Not just follow a sheet and then say this passed, this failed, report bugs. If the bugs are fixed, test them again and move it to done. That's not the case, right? Moving on. Yeah, so this point, right, it's okay to leave the QAs out. It's more often than not, the QAs are left out of these discussions of sorts, right? When you're planning a release, okay, the QAs are left out, that's okay. They can just test it and then say, okay, you know what, it's good for release. When they're developing things, okay, when we are discussing about some technical challenges, technical issues that we are facing, when we are discussing something about code development, QAs can be left out, that's okay, man. It's okay, what will they do with us, right? Well, what will they do with analysis? What will they do with requirement gathering? What will they do with interacting with the client? They can help at every stage for that matter, right? They can come and let's take, for example, discussing with the clients, telling the client this makes sense, this can be testable, this cannot be testable. Telling the BAs, you know what, you need to slice stories like this, that this can be testable. These two chunks of work can be tested together, this cannot be tested together. And giving that input, like I mentioned, right, discussing with the developer, saying that, you know what, these are the edge cases, you need to test, you need to look for them, you need to watch for them, and stuff like that, right? So if involvement of QAs in these discussions is very important, and which I feel is not happening anymore. And last but not the least, people say your job is only to test. But as I mentioned, it's way more than testing. It's not just testing, but be part of every phase of software development. And that also helps us in delivering good quality software. And that's about it, guys. Thank you. So, yeah. And any questions? You don't agree to some of these? You've not faced any of these or something of that sort? Yeah, you're a developer. You're the one causing the problems.
Thank you, Kushal, for your time. We'd like to give you another token of appreciation. Yeah, so we're done with our lightning talks for the day. Right now, we'll be having a lunch break. And before that, if